Hi class, my bowl is now leather hard, so it is ready to start trimming. I know because the rim is firm, but the bottom is still soft. Okay, the things you'll need are your trimming tools, a little chunk of wet clay, and your leather hard bowl. What you're going to do is turn the leather hard bowl upside down on the wheel head and try to get it kind of centered as best you can. And then slowly turn your wheel on. What we have to do now is recenter the pot. And what we're going to do is do that just by gently tapping the sides. You can see here it's off center, and I'm just going to tap it. Until it is centered. One way that I can tell is by taking my needle tool and seeing if I have the same distance on either side. Okay. When I have it centered, then I'm going to take that little chunk of clay and make 3 chunks, evenly divided. Kind of press them down on my bat first. I'm going to be careful I'm not moving my pot. And when I have all 3 there, I'm going to gently kind of push them against the side of the pot. Make sure that they are stuck. Now I'm going to get my loop tool, and I'm going to start by taking off this excess clay. And I hold my left hand kind of on the center of the pot, gently pressing down, connecting my 2 hands in a way that's comfortable. If I start doing this and the clay feels too wet, then I need to stop and wait. You'll know it's too wet if it's kind of sticking to your pot when the trimmings come off. If you hear a screeching sound, then your pot's probably too dry. You can try dampening it a little bit at a time with a wet sponge. Okay, so I've taken away that excess that I normally would have trimmed with my wooden knife. And then kind of gauging how much clay I have here, so I know how much I can trim away. How you make your foot will be up to you. We saw some examples of tall feet, short feet, decorative elements that we can add. Sometimes I start just by marking with my needle tool where I want that foot ring to begin. So I'm going to mark here and here, and I'm going to carve the rest away. You want to frequently check to make sure that you aren't carving too much and your pot's getting too thin. And I just check by gently patting. If the clay moves under my fingertip, then I know that it's thinner. Okay, now I'm going to carve the inside of the foot ring. I like to use my smaller loop tool for this part. And I like to use just the corner. If you try to take away too much too fast, it can sometimes make your pot wobble and get out of place and off center. Just carve these grooves in and remove a little bit at a time. This inside part of my foot ring should be as low as this outside part. Unless you know for some reason you threw it too thin in the middle. I'm just shaping this foot ring so its edges aren't sharp. And now I'm kind of thinking too about where I want my glaze edge to end. Depending on how I carve this, it could make glazing really easy for me. If I have distinct ending edges. You see these ridges, there's a lot of grog in this clay, which means bits of sand, and I really don't want those ridges to show. So I'm just going to use a lighter touch now to smooth that up. And I'm going to take my rubber rib to help smooth that out. Sometimes I just use my fingertip too to smooth. I'm looking at my profile here to see if it's the shape that I want it to be. And I think I'm done. Now this clay is much wetter than the rest of the pot because I've carved away the excess dry clay. So I'm not going to flip it back over yet. I'm going to let it dry upside down. And I do want to get my signature chop. I'm going to check and I judge that I've trimmed enough away. If I take it off and I feel like I haven't trimmed, I would put it back on and recenter it. Take my chop and I'm pressing my hand on the inside right where I'm going to put my chop so it doesn't collapse. And I push against it from the inside. And there it is.